Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
स्क्रीन शेयर किया दिख रहा है ना?
Yes, sir, visible.
लास्ट सेशन का कुछ याद है? What we covered last time?
Sir, industrial relation and all we have discussed.
Okay. So what is industrial relation?
Means how a company or something maintains a relationship between an employee and the society and the different organizations also. So it's all about the relationship and associations among the own people and among the industry. So that was the main discussion.
Correct. Correct. Which model we spoke in that?
So model I am not remember. Others. Yes, yes, okay.
Dunlop's model.
Yes, yes.
Systematic approach, collective bargain, etc., etc. So today, let us see another area which can be helpful to you by both ways, for your individual also and for your team also. If you are pursuing a career in HR, then also it is useful and otherwise also. So we'll be talking about salary and taxation today. Not a very lengthy topic, but yes, an interesting one. पैसा सबको अच्छा लगता है ना? And every time when you get your salary slip, इतना काट लिया, HR ने इतना काट लिया, that a common feeling most of the time. The higher the salary, the higher the deduction. As we all are working in various industries, अलग-अलग sector में अलग-अलग industries में हम काम कर रहे हैं. So there are two terms, a term called salary and term called wages. Okay. From all the perspective, whether it is in HR or accounts or maybe production, by all the perspectives, it is important and necessary that we know the fundamental difference between salary and wages. Okay. If we see the statutory side of this, तो जहां तक मुझे पता है, सैलरी करके कोई वर्ड किसी एक्ट वगैरह में नहीं है. मतलब उसका डेफिनेशन शायद किसी भी एग्जिस्टिंग एक्ट में नहीं है. इट इज ऑलवेज द टर्म वेज that is used in almost all the acts. Actually, the word salary, this came from a Roman army. So in very olden days, the soldiers of Roman army, instead of money, they were paid in salt. पैसे की जगह पे नमक. And they this monthly allowance, whatever they were used to get, it was called salarium. So from there, this monthly remuneration word salary came into being. So Latin, Roman say French, French say English. Salarium to salary, and then from there to salary, what we are using now in our routine conversation. So the basic difference between salary and wage, as such, both are remunerations paid to human resource for acquiring or retaining them for your job or business of work. Okay. Now, when we say acquiring or retaining, it is basically for the purpose of work. You want some service from them, and against those services, you are compensating. And this compensation can be either salary or wage. When paid for a period of 1 month, we call it as a salary. And when it is paid on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, we call them wages. Sometimes it is also paid on the basis of quantity produced in a piece rate. So when the compensation is made on a daily basis towards the services by an individual, Okay. Then it is wage. When the same remuneration is paid over a period of time, it's called salary. There are two acts, Payment of Wages Act and Minimum Wages Act. Payment of Wages Act 1936 and Minimum Wages Act 1948. So these are the two acts in which the term wage has been defined. If you see the Payment of Wages Act 1936, it says wages mean all the remuneration, whether the by way of salary, allowances, or otherwise. Okay. Salary is also a subset of wage as per the Payment of Wages Act. Expressed in terms of money or capable of being so expressed, which would, if the term of employment expressed or implied were fulfilled, be payable to a person employed in respect of his employment or of work done in such employment. So wage is a remuneration which in terms of money or capable of being so expressed, which would, if the term of employment expressed or implied, express मतलब लिखी हुई है या मान ली गई है. Many services which are for which you don't get an appointment letter. Okay, but still the amount is decided, the amount is fixed. पैसा कितना मिलेगा साहब? Your housemaid, your house servants, सोसाइटी का सिक्योरिटी गार्ड, कचरा उठाने वाला. Okay, all these people who give their services to you or to a group of people, but they are implied. There is no appointment letter given to them. कहीं लिखा नहीं है. But आपस में बातचीत करके and we fixed. That is called implied. Expressed is if it is given in black and white. So if these terms of employment are fulfilled, then whatever remuneration is payable is called wages. And the similar definition is in Minimum Wages Act 1948. Now the assignment for you, okay, you can put up in the group the definition of wages across various acts. अलग अलग एक्ट में वेज का डेफिनेशन क्या है? दो यहां लिखे हैं, पेमेंट ऑफ वेजेस एक्ट एंड मिनिमम वेजेस एक्ट. इसके अलावा कैलकुलेशन ऑफ प्रोविडेंट फंड, calculation of gratuity, calculation of workman compensation, calculation of subsistence allowance in Industrial Dispute Act. All these calculations are also based on your income, your remuneration. So Provident Fund Act, ESIC Act, Gratuity Act, Payment of Bonus Act, Employee Compensation Act, Industrial Dispute Act, and any other such act which is applicable and talks about money in any way. Check the definition of wages in each of these acts and highlight the differences. Okay, so I put up the question in chat also. You can take it from there. Explore. Okay, you can Google, you can check the HR of your organization. You can speak with them. You can check up in another group and try to find out the definition of wages and what are the differences in the definition of different acts. Like if you see the Payment of Wages Act and Minimum Wages Act, you'll find a difference that by way of salary allowances and otherwise is not present in Minimum Wages Act. Okay. Then there are exclusions and inclusions also. That what is included in wage and what is not included in wage. So this is something, a task for you. Another difference between salary and wage. Salary is for white collar job and wages for blue collar. Blue collar are the workers, those who are doing, production, manufacturing activities. They are there on the shop floor and their earning is calculated on either daily basis or on hourly basis or on the amount or quantity manufactured or produced. Okay, it is not incentive, it is the actual earning. Then another difference between salary and wage. Salary can vary from place to place, person to person, position to position. However, wage, the rate by and large remains same across. So a worker paid in my company will have the similar earning of a worker working in another company in the nearby vicinity. It can be either industry type or the demography. Government also had laid down the guidelines in the Payment of Minimum Wages Act कि कम से कम कितना वेज मिलना चाहिए, which is not the case for white collar employee. Any person working in the capacity of a supervisor, manager, administrative areas, his earning is not fixed. But for workmen, it is fixed. That minimum per day wage will be this much. You cannot pay any workman below this value. Okay. And the definition of workman as specified in Factories Act. तो वेज का जो सीलिंग है वो फिक्स है. सैलरी अगेन इट डिपेंड्स. धीरज एंड मी can have same experience, same qualification, but he can earn more than me being in a specific work profile. Same qualification, same education, same experience, but I am working in Gujarat, you are working in Gurgaon. Our salary can be significantly different. Whereas the wages will not be so varied. So this is a primary difference between salary and wages. You can still find out other differences in salary and wage. Okay. So the basic, we must know that when we talk about when we talk about taxation, when we are talking about compensation framework, whenever we are talking about any deduction applications, we are by and large talking about the salary, not the wages. Because wages are very minimum. after a lot of efforts and amendments today, a minimum wage in Gujarat for a workman for an 8-hour job, is around 460 plus, around 550 rupees per day. Okay. Salary is not paid based on your skill level completely or purely. Okay. It all depends on how you have negotiated on the salary part. Whereas wages, there is not much negotiation possible as far as workman is concerned. Okay, unless it is a collective bargain environment where the unionized people, last session we were talking about trade unions. So unless it is in collective bargain framework where wages are decided, otherwise wages are by and large fixed, that anybody and everybody based on the skill level will be paid XYZ amount. Okay. So you can also check and put the latest minimum wages of your area. आप जिस भी स्टेट में काम कर रहे हैं उस स्टेट में अभी मिनिमम वेजेस क्या है. Like in Gujarat, there are 3 categories: unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled. And for all of them, the minimum wage rates are different. So unskilled may be 510 rupees, semi-skilled may be 520 rupees, and skilled may be 530 rupees per day for 8-hour job. Similarly, in your areas, wherever you are operating as of now, like Sarmishta is currently in Chennai, she can check the minimum wages of Chennai. And Dheeraj, you are in Haryana, Gurgaon. You can check the minimum wages of your area. Okay, so you'll find the difference. Though it's a central act, but then the state government decides what could be the minimum wages for their regions. Okay, and it all depends on CPI, Consumer Price Index. आप सुनते होंगे न्यूज में for government or state or central government employees, every quarter they make some changes in DA.
Yes.
अगर आप न्यूज रेफर करते होंगे तो DA बढ़ा 3%, 2%. DA is dearness allowance, which is nothing but the inflation of that quarter. To compensate the inflation of that quarter, the amount necessary for an individual. तो उसका जो बेस है, the base is CPI, Consumer Price Index. There are some critical, I think 50 or 100 items, जिसके प्राइस वेरिएशन से ये पता चलता है कि महंगाई की जो दर है, the rate of inflation is increasing or decreasing. And if it is increasing, the government revises the dearness allowance. That is a compensation by few percentage, 1 or 2%. Okay. So the CPI is calculated, and based on CPI, Consumer Price Index, there are revisions in the dearness allowance. As good as 100%. Then it is amalgamated, and then there are wage revisions. Okay, so it's a different calculation altogether. Perhaps may not be the need as of now for you, but you must understand how these things are calculated or what are the basis of this. So the wages compared to salary are very less. Okay, and as the government is trying to make it as competitive as possible, around 18,000 rupees per month, इतना पहुंचना चाहिए, ऐसा आज का भी का गवर्नमेंट का विजन है, that every individual working anywhere at any capacity should have at least 15 to 18,000 rupees per month income, which was 7 to 8,000 rupees couple of years ago. Okay, so for them it has been almost double for what they were earning. Okay, still it is very less if you see the inflation as of now. 200 रुपए किलो टमाटर के सामने 18,000 रुपए का salary या wage is, is misnomer, does not stand anywhere. But yeah, these are the situations which are currently for XYZ reasons. But the income, of course, the government, respective government, state government or central government, these are always trying to support, that particular category of employees. Industry, for industry, it is always an impact on their cost, okay, and which ultimately affects the price of the product. तो अगर आज कोई चीज महंगी है तो उसके पीछे वेज बिल भी एक बड़ा फैक्टर है. So there's an RM cost, wage bill is another factor. So salary and wages, this is the difference. Basic difference, blue collar, white collar, fixed and variable, depends on the skill set for wages, and for salary it all depends on your experience and how you could negotiate, industry type, sector. 5 साल का एक्सपीरियंस वाला इंजीनियर बैंगलोर में अलग कमा रहा होगा, भरूच में अलग कमा रहा होगा, गुड़गांव में अलग कमा रहा होगा. Whereas a worker would be having similar wages across the country, whether it is Bangalore, whether it is Bharuch, or whether it is Gurgaon. Okay. So now, let us understand the components of the salary and wages. As far as wages are concerned, there are 1 or 2 components only. In most of the cases, it is basic and dearness allowance. वेज में अगर बात करेंगे तो वेज में जनरली 2 ही कंपोनेंट है, बेसिक एंड डियरनेस अलाउंस. बट इन सैलरी देयर आर वेरियस कंपोनेंट्स. ओके, इसको हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं 2 पार्ट्स में. One part is earning and second part is deduction. So the components of salary, salary slip भी अगर बात करेंगे तो first component is employees particulars. Now these particulars can be the employee name, उसका कोड, किस डिपार्टमेंट में है, डेट ऑफ ज्वाइनिंग कितना था, और इन ए गिवन मंथ उसके टोटल वर्किंग डेज कितने हैं. Is there anything which has worked extra? If it is staff, generally it is compensatory. Of workmen के case में we call them overtime. Okay, the payment of overtime. Then if any leaves one has availed, whether these leaves are paid leaves or unpaid leaves. Okay, all these points, they're employee particulars. The second component of salary is earning. Okay, when you say earning means usko kya mil raha hai. This will have fixed earnings, it will have allowances, and it will have some incentives as well. प्रोडक्शन इंसेंटिव हो गया, सेल्स इंसेंटिव हो गया, कोई स्पेशल इंसेंटिव दिया. In many organizations, for the workmen, they have attendance incentive. Okay, They may have quality incentives. They may have extra productivity incentive. In unionized environments, there can be different allowances paid to these workmen. Are we connected?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So in a unionized environment, there can be various allowances which are payable to workmen based on their nature of job. Okay, like in public service utility company, the number of employees visited can also be compensated by way of allowances. It's not fixed. There is a fixed basic amount that will get 10,000 rupees a month, which is the fixed value. Then, for number of connections visited, you will be paid 15 rupees per connection per day. So जितने लोगों के घर आप जाएंगे वेरीफाई करने के लिए उतने उसके हिसाब से आपको पेमेंट आपके सैलरी में ऐड होगा. Okay, this is variable yet fixed. It is for their individual performance and paid monthly. There are certain income which all depends on the organizational performances. That if the gross profit reaches X amount, okay, or if there is a 10 or 15% growth of the organization, then there are certain incentives payable. So they are one-time incentives. In many organizations, there are two parts of the salary also, the fixed component and variable component. So fixed and allowances. These allowances can be allowances or incentives. Another component of a salary can be deduction. This deduction can be of statutory nature or other deductions. Deduction towards your meal, deduction towards your transport expenses, deduction towards your uniform, a deduction towards any facility provided to you, और स्टैट्यूटरी. स्टैट्यूटरी मतलब जो कानूनी तौर पे कटने चाहिए, जैसे प्रोविडेंट फंड. So deduction of PF is statutory deduction. Contribution made to ESIC is a statutory deduction. Professional tax. Okay, in many states it is applicable. In many states in Union Territory it is not applicable. But it is a statutory deduction. It goes to the treasury. Labor Welfare Fund. LWF. Deducted half yearly as per your income or grade. All these are statutory deductions. They are also part of your salary. Then we say it's a gross salary. Gross is any earning before deduction. तो जो भी मिलने योग्य भत्ता है, it is your gross salary. Any income or earning before any deduction, whether it is statutory or otherwise. Then there is net salary. Net is what you get in your account after all the deductions. Okay. Now these are some of the components or are either of fixed type or of allowances which may appear in your salary statement. The first thing is basic salary. Now, in any of the act, if you take, there is nothing called basic salary. है ना, ये किसी भी एक्ट में लिखा नहीं है, वर्ड है ही नहीं किसी में भी. None of the payment or compensation act has a word basic salary. This is a derived nomenclature. आपकी सैलरी का एक हिस्सा ऐसा which is minimum payable. Sarmishta, have you heard the term CTC? Dheeraj, you also?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we
Cost
have
to the company.
this.
Cost to the
Company.
What is it? What is cost to the company?
The total cost of a company to retain an employee or to engage an employee.
Okay, what all it can include?
So all the
HRA, TA, DA, LDC, everything.
Okay. So this CTC, again, this word cost to company is again a derived word. Okay, there is no standard definition of CTC, but as Dheeraj said, an amount spent to retain an employee is cost to company. Okay. Now, as an HR or as an other employee as well, we must understand how this CTC is calculated for us. Okay, because this will have fixed, this will have variable, this will have perks, this will have fringe benefit also. FBT. Now, whatever you get in cash is a part of your salary. Whatever you get in kind is either perk or fringe benefit. When you're negotiating, you must negotiate on the first thing, what I'll get, and not as the total CTC, because these perks or fringe benefit can be subject to something. Okay. Or it will include everything like the cost of safety shoes, cost of uniform, cost of transportation, cost of food. It also can be included in your CTC calculation when you're presented with your offer. Okay. So this entire amount may look very inflated. However, your gross or net will be comparatively less. For example, there is a food subsidy that you get. Okay, so per meal, if the cost incurring to the company is 100 rupees, and they say we offer subsidized food, so for example, 25 rupees is what is being deducted from your salary. That will go in deduction part, contribution towards canteen or subsidy. Okay, so for 30 days, 750 rupees. And remaining 75 rupees, which organization or company is paying on your behalf, would be meal allowance or expense towards meal in your CTC. So, your CTC may appear 3,000 rupees a month more, whereas your actual take in hand will be less than these 3,000 rupees. So these are the benefits for which company may consider the expenses in your CTC. However, any calculation on taxation is on your gross salary or net salary and not on the CTC. Okay. So whether you are an HR professional or an otherwise working professional, this is something which we as an employee should know or remember whenever we are negotiating our compensation. Okay. So if it is in cash, it is earning. If it is kind, it is benefit or perk. Company paying you, company is giving you a vehicle. It's a facility. Company offers you the fuel and maintenance expenses. Okay, which is a fixed value. कंपनी आपको बोलती है कि हमारे पास ट्रांसपोर्ट फैसिलिटी नहीं है, बट वी विल कॉम्पनसेट द एक्सपेंसेस. Okay. Now it can be taxable if it is a part of your earning. It can be non-taxable if it is a part of a reimbursement. Okay. So these are certain areas which you as an HR professional, if you are designing a compensation structure, you should know, or otherwise as an employee also. So some of the components of your salary are basic. As such, there is no word or term called basic in any compensation structure. But yes, for the ease of calculation, this word has been derived as basic salary, which is by and large 35 to 50% of your total salary. Okay, it all depends on the organization, how much this component could be or should be. Okay, but approximately 35% to 50% is the basic salary. या इसको अगर दूसरे वर्ड में समझना है तो आपका जो भी कॉस्ट टू कंपनी है सीटीसी, उस सीटीसी का 35 से लेके 50% तक हिस्सा जो है वो इट विल गो इन योर बेसिक सैलरी. Now there are certain discussions or dispute which are related to Provident Fund. Okay, and the matter is still under discussion and litigation, wherein the authorities EPFO, Provident Fund or the Bhavish Nidhi Provident Fund Authority, it says that any income which is regular, sustained, except HRA, should form the basis of calculation or deduction of Provident Fund. So this matter, so far, it is not yet cleared, still under litigation. Certain courts have put up the stay on this. But उनका ऐसा मानना है कि Provident Fund जो है, for the, for their own benefits, companies, they keep basic as less as 20%, 25% of the total earning, and then deduct all the statutory components on that basic value. तो आप अगर आपका सैलरी स्ट्रक्चर उठा के देखोगे, अगर आपको सैलरी स्लिप मिलता हो या कुछ भी, तो उसमें आप इफ यू कैलकुलेट यू विल फाइंड दैट योर बेसिक अमाउंट इज 35 to 50% ऑफ योर टोटल इनकम. बेसिक जितना कम होगा, स्टैट्यूटरी बेनिफिट्स उतने ही कम होंगे. और बेसिक के लिए कोई गाइडलाइन नहीं है, मिनिमम वेज के लिए गाइडलाइन है, बट उस मिनिमम वेज में भी बेसिक कितना होगा, डीए कितना होगा, उसका कोई गाइडलाइन नहीं. But there the value is fixed. So irrespective of the basic or DA distribution, the total amounts remain same, which is not the case with salaried employees, white collar. तो आपका मंथली अर्निंग 10 लाख रुपए हो सकता है, लेकिन ऐसा हो सकता है कि कंपनी आपको बेसिक में 1 लाख रुपए देगी और बाकी का 9 लाख रुपए इन अदर अलाउंसेस एंड इंसेंटिव्स. द पर्पस फॉर यू आपको बेनिफिट शायद स्टैट्यूटरी डिडक्शन कम होंगे, कंपनी को बेनिफिट, उसको भी स्टैट्यूटरी पेमेंट कम करने पड़ेंगे, बट इवेंचुअली at the time of retirement or at the time of settlement or in case of any eventuality, the compensation is also less. So which government says that it is not a pro-employee approach. EPFO said it is not a pro-employee approach, and therefore they said that आप जितना भी CTC लिखो, जो लिखना है लिखो, आप जितना पैसा महीने में उसको देते हो, उसका कम से कम 50% बेसिक होना चाहिए, अगर आप पीएफ कैलकुलेशन का बेसिक अमाउंट मानते हो तो। वैसे तो 100% एक्सक्लूडिंग एचआरए should be a basis for calculating the provident fund or deduction of provident fund, but still in the new wage code also the proposal is to have 50% of your total earning to be as basic salary, so that your statutory deduction and social savings are more. पेंशन वेंशन नहीं मिलेगा तो आप आगे जाके 50-55 साल की उम्र के बाद में क्या करोगे? हाउ विल यू गेट द कॉर्पस? So the more you deduct in your early days, the better is your corpus. So that is the basics of basic salary. Okay, it's not a statutory word, but it has been derived for the ease of calculation of salary, and all other calculations all purely depends on the basic salary. So fundamentally, to calculate the salary, which we will do it in today's session, which you will do it in today's session, पहला पॉइंट आप ये याद रख सकते हैं कि बेसिक सैलरी जो है आपका टोटल सीटीसी या टोटल सैलरी का 35 से 50% हो सकता है. देन एचआरए, हाउस रेंट अलाउंस, दिस इज द एक्सपेंसेस इनकर्ड टुवर्ड्स अवेलिंग एनी हाउसिंग फैसिलिटी in the area you are working. Now here the standard practice is 40% of your basic salary. Okay, so at times it is 50% of your basic salary also, but not less than 40%. और इसका दूसरा implication है calculation of income tax. Okay, so basic and HRA, basic can be 35% to 50% of your total income. HRA is 40 to 50% of your basic salary. Dearness allowance, as such, you will not find in your components. This is largely paid to the PSU, public sector employees, that is central or state government employees. Okay, or in terms of wage fixation. So for workmen, there can be salary, there can be basic and DA. Okay, because they also have a revision in their basic DA twice a year. So the private sector है, okay, प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ये डीए रिवीजन साल में 2 बार होता है, अप्रैल एंड सितंबर. और पीएसयू जो है स्टेट या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, उसमें साल में 4 बार, एवरी क्वार्टर. एंड इन पब्लिक सेक्टर एवरी हाफ ईयर. इन पीएसयू इट इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज 3%, 2%, 3% per quarter, whereas in private sector this DA revision comes in terms of absolute value. 15 रुपए, 10 रुपए, कभी कभी नहीं भी बढ़ता है, कम होता है. 10 पैसा DA कम भी हो जाएगा, ऐसा भी होता है, 1 रुपया कम भी हो जाएगा. Then government, the competent authority put up a notification that though the inflation have reduced, but we advise organizations and industries not to reduce the DA value. और बढ़ेगा तो कितना रुपया बढ़ेगा उतना उसका सर्कुलर आता है. This is done every year twice, April and September. So 1st April and 1st September, there are 2 revisions. So for workmen or blue collar, this DA can be a component of their salary, not for the salaried people. Then medical allowance. Again, in medical allowance, as it says, it is an allowance and not a reimbursement. मतलब आप खर्चा करोगे और मिलेगा ऐसा नहीं है. लेकिन कुछ कंपोनेंट ऐसे हैं जहां पे सरकार को लगता है कि ये खर्चे अभी की लाइफस्टाइल को देखते हुए कमोबेश होंगे ही. सो आई थिंक साल का 15,000 रुपये, 15,000 रुपीज इन ईयर is an amount which is exempted for tax calculation. मतलब महीने का 12,500 रुपया, 12,500, 1,250 रुपया पर मंथ, 1250 per month can be in medical allowance. If you see your own salary slip, you may find it. Although your company might be giving you mediclaim, although your company may be covered under ESIC, still as a part of your salary, they may have a component called medical allowance. Okay. And the value maximum can be 1,250. अगर ज्यादा भी मिलता होगा तो भी टैक्स एजम्पशन के हिसाब से 1,250 रुपया इज द अमाउंट which is exempted for tax calculation. Similarly, conveyance allowance. Although companies might be offering you transport facility, like here in Gujarat, the companies or factories are at remote locations. तो मैं जहां रहता हूं वहां से अगर मुझे काम पे जाना है तो 50 किलोमीटर ट्रैवल है. For routine travel, of course, company has provided the bus facility or local transport facility. But कभी ऐसा होगा कि आपका बस मिस हो गया, आप देर से पहुंचे, जल्दी निकलना है. In that case, you have to spend money. And then these expenses can be towards your own conveyance. So this conveyance allowance is 19,200 per year exempted. 19,200 रुपया सालाना exempted है, which means 1,600 rupees per month. और इन सब के बाद में जो भी बच गया, that goes into स्पेशल अलाउंस बोलो इसको, सिटी कॉम्पेंसेटरी अलाउंस बोलो, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल अलाउंस बोलो, आप कोई भी नाम दे दो उसके अंदर. Are you getting? Is there any confusion? Any problem? There is a problem in understanding. We are simply saying certain words.
No, sir, it's
Oh
clear.
no,
I think.
there. Till now
I'm
it
making
is
sense.
yes, yes. Till now it is clear.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Okay, so this, from
Every
basic to
month,
special.
sir, just to add, every month we are seeing it, so it is a bit easier to correlate.
Yes,
The
yes,
salary
yes. You all
slip.
get salary slip, so it is very
Yeah.
easy to correlate. Absolutely. Okay, so like I may get city compensation allowance. You may term the same thing as special allowance. Someone can say lively allowance. Okay, so this special allowance is nothing but the adjustment figure. तो आपका जो भी मंथली सैलरी या वेज डिसाइडेड है उसमें से पहला हिसाब निकाल लीजिए 35% योर बेसिक सैलरी. तो इफ वी एज्यूम दैट 1 लाख रुपी इज व्हाट योर मंथली इनकम, तो उस 1 लाख में से 35,000 रुपया विल बी द पार्ट ऑफ योर बेसिक सैलरी. देन उस बेसिक का 50% से 17,500 रुपया becomes your HRA. Okay, basic का 50% HRA. So 17,500 becomes the HRA. So 35 और 17, this becomes, I think, 52,500 rupees. Plus 1,250 is your medical allowance. अब साथ साथ में कैलकुलेट करते जाओ. You'll also learn how to calculate the salary. So 1,250, this becomes your medical allowance. 1,600 rupees becomes your conveyance allowance. So this will make your total to around 55,000 rupees. 55-56 हजार के आसपास बनेगा ये। 16 12 28, 28 और 17 45, 45 और सॉरी 16 और 12 28, मतलब 2,800 रुपए, 2,850 प्लस 17,500, तो 19, 20,300 या ऐसा कुछ, प्लस ये 35,000 रुपीज बेसिक। 3520, 55-56 हजार के आसपास आपका टोटल बनेगा। नाउ यू सब्सट्रैक्ट दिस वैल्यू फ्रॉम 1 लाख रुपीज। So remaining 44-45,000 rupees will go in your special allowances. This becomes the part of your earning side. Then comes the deduction. So in deduction, professional tax. This is a fixed amount, 80 रुपए से लेके 200 रुपए तक, based on your earning capacity. So like here in Gujarat, up to 12,000 rupees, there is no professional tax applicable. And after 12,000 rupees, flat 200 rupees per person per month is the professional tax deducted. This is the amount. It's a statutory deduction paid to the state government. Then employees' contribution to Provident Fund, EPF, it is 12% of your earning. Presently, it is calculated on a basic value. So 12% of your basic is EPF. This is what? Statutory deduction. ओके, तो ये भी डिडक्ट होगा। अभी की जो प्रैक्टिस है उसके हिसाब से आपके बेसिक पे, मतलब 35,000 रुपए में 12%। इसमें एक क्लॉज है, कैलकुलेशन ऑफ प्रोविडेंट फंड, इसमें एक लिमिट दिया है। ओके, लिमिट ऐसा है कि आप 15,000 रुपए तक ही चाहें तो आपका पीएफ कटवा सकते हैं। मतलब मैक्सिमम डिडक्शन और मैक्सिमम कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द प्रोविडेंट फंड, if an employer decides, he can contribute only maximum up to rupees 1,800 in provident fund. Okay, 15,000 रुपए का लिमिट और the applicable rate is 12%. So 12% of the basic is the rate at which provident fund is deducted. So it is a part of deduction. It is an employee's contribution. आपका, और उसके बाद wherever applicable, there is an ESIC contribution, Employee State Insurance Scheme, which is 0.75% of your basic, of your total earning, excluding your incentives and overtime. 0.75% is the contribution towards ESIC, अगर deductible है तो, applicable है तो। और ये सब होने के बाद जो नेट कमाया आपने, उसके ऊपर इनकम टैक्स, दैट इज टीडीएस, टैक्स डिडक्टेड एट सोर्सेस एज पर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961. Okay, so these are the components of your salary.
I have a question here.
Yes, Amisha.
Yeah, so TDS is fine, but in case of professional tax, I thought that it is a 10% professional tax is cut when you are a consultant, you're working and you're getting a lump sum amount out of it, and it is not there as a part of your salary when you are an employee of a firm.
No, that is income tax. That 10% deduction is TDS. It is not a statutory deduction. That is an income tax deduction.
Professional tax also 10% professional tax is deducted. So
they call it as a professional tax. This PT, the part of your salary, it is fixed amount from minimum 80 rupees to 200 rupees as per your income. But that professional tax 10% is a TDS, or the tax applicable to your earning. If you're working as a consultant, in that case, this statutory professional tax is not applicable to you. Okay, but since you're earning something from that organization, you are liable to pay tax. And since the tax is deducted at sources, so this TDS will be 10% of your earning minimum. In certain cases, in certain services, this TDS is 2% also. Okay, so they call it as a professional tax, but which is not the statutory in nature, but that is the tax on your income. Like service tax, there is a word called service tax, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, this was a very popular word, service tax. After GST and all, it all gone obsolete. But this service tax is what? Service tax is tax payable to someone for availing the services. Now, if I hire an agency who is providing me a transport, so his, his margin or his income, I put as a service tax in the agreement. I say all the expenses plus 12% service tax. So that's 12% service tax is not actually the service tax, but I'm paying him 12% as a profit. You getting? Am I able to answer you, service tax?
Yeah, yes.
Or still there is confusion?
Actually, so just quoting an example, we do not have a professional tax, we have a TDS in our salary slip. Okay. And when I was working with the Ministry of Urban Development, I was as a consultant, and a 10% professional. So I didn't had all these basic salary, house rent, HRA, conventional, and LTC, medical, nothing like that. So it was a kind of a consolidated amount which was given to me after deducting 10% of professional tax. So there is where I'm a little bit confused that so far I knew that 10% professional tax is cut when you are a consultant and you're getting a lump sum amount and these divisions are not there. So when you're an employee only, then these divisions are applicable on you. So that time our TDS is cut. So you mean to say that professional tax and TDS is the same thing in case of an employee?
Correct. Because when you are a consultant, you don't you are not you don't have the facility to declare your investments and savings.
Right.
There are no allowances applicable to it. It's a flat income. Okay. So as an employer, or as a the person who is availing your services is not very sure about your savings or other tax liabilities. So they deduct 10% on the face value, and it is called professional tax as per Income Tax Act. Okay, and there the slabs are different. So 0.5%, 2%, 10%, there are different slabs for different category of consultancy or different type of earnings. So if I'm a service provider, if I'm a consultant, if I'm giving, advice, if I'm taking trainings, if I'm implementing systems, there my professional tax, deductible professional tax is 10% of the total earning, whatever lump sum amount is, deducting, after all the absenteeism and all. So अगर suppose किसी ने ऐसा fix किया कि भाई आपको महीने का 30,000 रुपया मिलेगा, that means 1,000 rupees a day, which means your daily professional tax 10% of 1,000 rupees is 100 rupees per day. That is the deduction which he will deduct from your income and deposit as a TDS in income tax. But this professional tax is a tax payable to state government, which is non-refundable on behalf of an employee because he is getting a profession, he is getting a livelihood in that state. So 10% professional tax is an income tax for a consultant, whereas this 200 rupees professional tax is a tax payable to government for providing the employment opportunity in that state. Okay, so there, I mean, in your case, Ranisha, the TDS is referred as professional tax.
Right, right. Okay.
For consultant, the TDS is termed as professional tax, which is flat at the rate of 10% of whatever the remuneration is offered to. Okay. So then after all these components, distribution and everything, this is how a salary slip may look like. Just a sample. So as I said, there are three components, three areas. One is the particulars. So employee name, number, designation, department. Now this bank name, bank account number are again optional. It all depends whether you want to add it or not. But generally there are certain elements which are good to have. Nothing called mandatory, but good to have. And since this salary slip is a legal document, okay, so there are certain informations which we must have on our salary slip with all the particulars about your employee code, your name correctly spelled, your designation, department, then your PF details, your Provident Fund account number, your UN number, then the number of days, total days worked, total leaves availed, category of leave, that is, CL, casual leave, paid leave, earned leave, sick leave, special leave, whatever is, whatever are the categories of leave. Statutory, there is only one category, which is your earned leave or privileged leave. बाकी का जो भी कुछ है वो फैसिलिटीज है जो आपको मिलती है कंपनी की तरफ से. ओके, जो कंपलसरी है, जो मिलना ही चाहिए, वो आपका अर्न लीव है, विच इज वन लीव अर्न आफ्टर एवरी 20 days ऑफ वर्किंग. 20 दिन काम करने के बाद आपको एक दिन का छुट्टी मिलना चाहिए, हक रजा. दैट इज व्हाट दे कॉल इट हियर इन गुजरात, बट इट इज ऑल स्टैट्यूटरी लीव्स एज पर Factories Act. I think Chapter 8, Leave with Wages of Factories Act. It talks about this particular category of leave. The working hour और छुट्टी, वो दो जो चीजें हैं Factories Act में define है. So these are the components which I suggest one must have on the salary slip. Your name, designation के अलावा कितने दिन आपने काम किया, आपका PF number, UN number, because these informations are handy. Anytime you can refer or use it. Then two segments, one is earning, second is deduction. Earning में जो भी components हैं, आप किसी भी head में ले लो उसको, ले लो all earnings. और deduction दो तरह का, one is statutory and other is non-statutory. Statutory EPF is statutory deduction. Professional tax, statutory deduction. Health insurance is non-statutory deduction. This is a deduction company is making for the facility providing to you. Okay, so your gross is 56,000, 2,500 रुपया कट गया, so your net salary is 53,500. CTC क्या होगा? what could be the CTC looking to this salary slip? What could be the CTC?
Gross salary into 12 months.
Amount?
Just a minute. 6,72,000.
और नेट के हिसाब से कितना होगा?
6,42,000.
So there is a difference, right?
Yeah.
तो अनार दिखा के अंगूर दे देंगे, ऐसा होगा. अभी मान लो इसी में जो डिडक्शन साइड है इसमें और 2 कंपोनेंट ऐड कर दिए, ट्रांसपोर्ट रिकवरी, फूड सब्सिडी और यूनिफॉर्म. तब तो सही में ऐसा हो जाएगा कि अनार दिखा के अंगूर दे दिया. Because then everything goes in deduction part, whatever percentage may be, whatever value can be. Okay, so be careful whenever we are calculating or negotiating on the salaries. So CTC versus net. Okay. So now the element of TDS in this salary slip, if you see, TDS is what? It is the taxation, the amount deducted on your income. Tax deducted at source. मतलब जो आपको पैसा दे रहा है वही आपके बिहाफ पे काट लेगा और सरकार की तिजोरी में जमा कर देगा. और आपको लगता है कि ज्यादा कट गया तो आप साल के आखिर में एक एप्लीकेशन देके, जिसको अपन इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न बोलते हैं, भर के सरकार से वापस ले. So this is TDS, tax deducted at sources. Now in this case, TDS is blank, which may not be the case otherwise or always. So your TDS is based on the IT Act section, तो याद नहीं है. So in this Income Tax Act 1961, taxable benefits can be broadly classified into 2 broad categories: recurring and ad hoc. Allowances and prerequisites are of these category. Recurring मतलब बार बार, ad hoc मतलब कभी कभी. Sometimes it is lump sum, structured, unstructured, in terms of cash or kind. अभी cash मतलब direct transfer, or kind, gift voucher, some facility, some outside package, वगैरह वगैरह. An allowance is usually the money paid, and prerequisites are the other facilities. So transport allowance, medical allowance, food allowance, bill allowance, A allowance, O allowance, all these are the allowances paid in cash under different heads. Sometimes beneficial, sometimes it is just a sham. मतलब उसका कोई मतलब नहीं, वो अलाउंस में रखो या बेसिक में ऐड कर दो, कोई ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. For certain heads, yes, it do make a difference. For certain heads, आप नाम कुछ भी दे दो, लेकिन उसका कुछ फर्क नहीं है. आप उसको किसी भी हेड में रखो, आपका टैक्स तो कटना ही है. Okay, so ad hoc and recurring, allowance and prerequisites. So perks, yeah, prerequisites are perquisites, not prerequisites. Perquisites are the benefits or facilities provided by employer to its employees. आपको गाड़ी दे दिया, कोई ड्राइवर दे दिया, खाना मिल गया, ओके, आपको घर दिया, घर पे टेलीफोन कनेक्शन दे दिया. All these are the perquisites. Now, in today's working environment and salary negotiation, it all comes a part of CTC. टोटल लमसम पैसा में इतना मिल जाएगा साहब, उसमें साहब क्या, तुमको गाड़ी रखना गाड़ी रखो, घोड़ा रखना घोड़ा रखो, ड्राइवर रखो, खुद चलाओ मत चलाओ, जो मर्जी करो. This is the amount payable to you in lump sum, including all the perquisites. Except at very senior level, there are certain benefits like air travel, साल में एक vacation, 15-20 दिन का overseas vacation. All these can be perquisites or ESOPs, company के shares वगैरह. These can be the perquisites, but otherwise now it's a culture of CTC. So in CTC, everybody is inclusive. And it all again depends on company to company type to company type. IT sector अलग होगा, manufacturing अलग होगा, service अलग होगा, and then from location to location. Okay. So they may have more conveyance allowance in Bangalore and more perquisites in places where it is less congested. Okay, because there they understand that anybody having their own vehicle commuting to office will take 3 hours. They'll take public transport, they'll reach in 30 minutes. Okay, so it is better to give them more on conveyance allowances than having a vehicle. And at senior level, where the timings are not very important, if it is a flexi timing, then it is less on the allowance part, more on the perquisites part. So it all depends how you are defining or designing the compensation structure. But then there are taxable benefits which are either recurring or ad hoc. Whether it is an allowance or a perquisite, there can be a tax liability to all the cases. Now, what is this income tax liability as of now? आप सब, you are working professionals, you always eyeing you, आप हमेशा बजट सुनते होंगे, देखते होंगे. तो पिछले 3-4 सालों से और निर्मला ताई ने एक नया चालू किया है, न्यू टैक्स रिजीम, है ना. ये सुना होगा आपने भी, क्योंकि हम लोग दिस वर्किंग क्लास पीपल, हमारे लिए बजट का मतलब सिर्फ इतना है कि इनकम टैक्स स्लैब में क्या चेंज हुआ ना. एनुअल बजट जो है हमारे लिए, हमारे काम के लिए खाली एक ही चीज है, इनकम टैक्स में क्या चेंज हुआ, क्या सस्ता होगा, क्या महंगा होगा. जैसे अगर आप न्यूज फॉलो करते हैं, इकोनॉमिक्स फॉलो करते हैं, तो पिछले 2-1 दिन में, परसों कल आज, एक पॉइंट काफी डिस्कशन में रहा, इंपोर्ट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गैजेट्स. गवर्नमेंट was considering or looking forward to stop import of electronic items of a specific category, खास करके लैपटॉप, प्रिंटर्स, मोबाइल फोन्स, उसका इंपोर्ट सरकार चाहती है कि हम ना करें. Okay, the purpose of the objective can be both either the fiscal deficit or promote make in India. Okay, इंडस्ट्रियल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग या प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी बढ़े, इसके लिए भी हम इंपोर्ट रोक सकते हैं, या दूसरा द कॉस्ट ऑफ इम्पोर्ट इज वेरी हाई एंड फिजिकल डिफिसिट को मेंटेन करने के लिए हम इम्पोर्ट बना कर सकते हैं. बट देन these are the decisions that government takes for their own revenue management. So in the same manner, the income tax also is governed by central government through this Income Tax Act 1961, and time to time there are revisions in income tax. So currently there are two regime, old regime and new regime of tax calculation. So as an HR professional, on the both sides of the table, as an employee also and as an employer also, we must understand how this everything is calculated. So old regime मतलब अब तक जो चल रहा था वो, there is an income, there are high deductions, less deduction slab, but one has the flexibility to reduce its tax liability by some investments. मतलब सरकार क्या बोलती है, पुराना जो टैक्स रिजीम था उसमें अगर आप 2.5 लाख रुपए तक कमाते हैं तो आपको 1 रुपए का भी टैक्स देना नहीं है, और विद इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर आपकी इनकम 5 लाख से कम है तो भी आपको टैक्स लायबिलिटी 0 है. ठीक है, मतलब अगर आप 2.5 लाख रुपए तक कमा रहे हैं तो आपको कोई इनकम टैक्स एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. लेकिन अगर आपकी इनकम 2,51,000 रुपए हो गई, लेकिन आपने कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दिया जिससे आपकी टैक्सेबल इनकम 2,50,000 से कम हो गई, तो भी आपको टैक्स एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. सिमिलरली 2.5 लाख से 5 लाख रुपए तक आपको टोटल टैक्सेबल इनकम पे 5% इनकम टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. मतलब 2.5 लाख रुपए पे 5%. बट विद एन इन्वेस्टमेंट, if your taxable income reduces below 5 lakh rupees, you save this 5% also. But the moment it crosses 5 lakh rupees, your liability is 20%. And the moment it crosses 10 lakh rupees, the liability is 30%. मतलब अगर 10 लाख रुपए का आपका सैलरी हो गया तो 30% सीधा टैक्स कट जाएगा. ओके, दिस वाज ओल्ड रिजीम. लेकिन वहां आपको फैसिलिटी ऐसा दिया सरकार ने कि कुछ एक कंपोनेंट ऐसे हैं जो नॉन टैक्सेबल कर दिए. मतलब कुछ इनकम्स कैटेगरीज ऐसी हैं जिसके ऊपर आपको टैक्स देना नहीं पड़ेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एचआरए, तो सरकार ने उसमें फिक्स कर दिया कि आपको सर्टेन अमाउंट तक एचआरए इज पार्शली एग्जम्प्टेड. तो टोटल इनकम का 40% अगर एचआरए है तो उसके ऊपर आपको टैक्स देना नहीं पड़ेगा. तो वो आपकी टैक्सेबल इनकम से बाहर चला गया. उसी तरह से उन्होंने ऐसा बोला कि अगर आपके पास कोई हाउसिंग लोन चल रहा है, आपने कोई मकान खरीदा और उसके ऊपर आपने लोन लिया है, तो उस लोन का जो इंटरेस्ट है, जब इंटरेस्ट बैंक को दे रहे हो, वो इंटरेस्ट आपके टैक्सेबल इनकम में से एग्जम्प्ट हो जाएगा 100%. तो आपका जो भी टोटल इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट है, इट विल बी एग्जम्प्टेड. इट विल नॉट बी कंसिडर्ड एज ए पार्ट ऑफ योर इनकम अंडर टैक्स सैलरी, या टैक्सेबल इनकम में नहीं आए. सरकार ने ऐसा भी बोला कि अगर आप 1.5 लाख रुपए तक अलग अलग इंस्ट्रूमेंट में इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं तो उस 1.5 लाख के ऊपर भी आपको टैक्स भरना नहीं पड़ेगा. मतलब वो भी आपकी टैक्सेबल इनकम में से कम हो जाएगा. मतलब अगर आपका 10-12 लाख का इनकम है, उसमें से अब साल का 1.5 लाख रुपया आपने अलग अलग इंस्ट्रूमेंट में इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, साल का 1.5 लाख रुपया समझो आपके पास आपका हाउसिंग लोन का इंटरेस्ट आता था, तो 1.5 और 1.5 3 लाख रुपया आपकी बेसिक 10 लाख में से कम हो गया. मतलब आपका लायबिलिटी अभी 7 लाख का रह गया. उस 7 लाख में से भी 2 लाख रुपए अगर आपका एचआरए होता है तो आपकी नेट टैक्सेबल इनकम 5 लाख रुपए हो गई, और 5 लाख रुपए की टैक्सेबल इनकम पे टैक्स एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, इसलिए आपको कोई भी टैक्स भरना नहीं पड़ेगा अगर आप 10 लाख रुपए तक कमा रहे हैं तो भी. दिस इज ओल्ड रिजीम. इन 2020 शायद 2019-20 या 20-21 government proposed a new taxation slab and they called it as a new tax regime. इसमें क्या किया, इसमें स्लैब्स बढ़ा दिए, परसेंटेज कम कर दिए और डिडक्शन वाला बेनिफिट निकाल दिए। मतलब एक्सक्लूडिंग स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन, बाकी आप कहीं भी इन्वेस्ट करो, कुछ भी करो, आपकी इनकम के हिसाब से उसको गिना नहीं जाएगा। 15 लाख रुपए से ऊपर की इनकम है तो आप इन्वेस्ट करो मत करो, 30% टैक्स एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा, bearing couple of deductions. So this is tax regime, new or old. Choice is again depends on individual. Still, इस साल तक में भी choices है, आप चाहें तो कौन सा टैक्स regime आपको ऑप्ट करना है आप कर सकते हैं, नया या पुराना. So for middle class, lower middle class, it is always good to have old tax regime where you have more cash of disposal at hand. Okay, आप सेविंग्स भी कर सकते हैं और आपका टैक्स लायबिलिटी कम कर सकते हैं. However, for a higher income salary, 10%, 30% is anyway applicable. तो 25-30 लाख रुपए से ऊपर का सैलरी है तो आप चाहे न्यू में हो या ओल्ड में हो, आपको टैक्स लायबिलिटी में बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. ओके, ऑफ कोर्स ओल्ड रेजिम इज ऑलवेज बेनिफिशियल. स्टिल, if a taxable income exceeds 15 lakh rupees, then in both the cases your tax liability remains same whether it is new or old. But as an HR professional, you must know what is old tax regime, what is new tax regime, and what are the slabs. Any question?
So just a general question on the taxation part. Although the organizations are working on this, but as of now, I haven't seen any HR team or any organization working to support on the tax liabilities for an employee or something. So, is there any policy coming up or in HR or something?
No, again, it all depends on the organization's own compensation structure. Okay, traditional organizations or very big organizations or a semi PSU kind of things, they have a salary structure which is largely on allowances based and reimbursement based. Okay, where the onus is on the employee. Companies like L&T, in their salary structure, is full of allowances. Basic will be less, but there will be a lot of allowances. Okay. Companies like Reliance and all, they will tell you to design your own salary structure. अब आपका salary structure आपके हिसाब से डिजाइन कर लो. Suppose your travel time is more and you use your own vehicle. Okay. So what they may suggest that, okay, you can have a fuel reimbursement allowance instead of conveyance allowance. तो आप जितना गाड़ी चलाते हैं उसका जितना फ्यूल भराते हैं उसका बिल आप सबमिट करेंगे, आपको उसका रीइंबर्समेंट मिल जाएगा. एंड रीइंबर्समेंट इज नॉट टैक्सेबल. Okay, so it all depends on the organization. So in this particular case, the entire onus is on the employee. उसने जो भी कुछ सबमिट किया है उसकी जिम्मेदारी एम्प्लॉय की खुद की है. Can any time be under the scrutiny. For salaried employees, though, chances are very less that there may any inquiry or notice from the income tax, unless and otherwise it is a major lapse. Okay, because TDS is always deducted and submitted. So probability is very less, but still, for such structure, it all depends on how the organization is supporting on this entire structuring. With this new regime, this entire thing will get abolished gradually. फिर रीइंबर्समेंट जैसा कुछ रह ही नहीं जाएगा. फिर जो भी कुछ है आपको कम, आपका पैसा आपके खाते में आया मतलब टैक्स लगेगा. So in that case, this reimbursement and all may not work. But yes, for certain organizations, the structure is such that they may have lot of allowances and reimbursement just to help the employees. But उसका calculation भी उतना ही मुश्किल है, उसका maintenance भी उतना ही मुश्किल है. So not all the organizations prefer or have such an elaborative structure. But yes, there are certain organizations, they do have it. So as I said, the Reliance, certain areas, they have the flexibility that the employee can decide his own structure. क्या component चाहिए, क्या basic चाहिए, क्या HRA चाहिए, everything they can decide to have the maximum advantages of the tax. The purpose is not the tax evasion, but to help the employee or benefit the employee with all applicable possibilities. है ना? So this is old and new tax regime. Now, the components and its effects on taxation. As I said, ना अभी हम जब बात कर रहे थे, there are a lot of allowances, reimbursements. तो कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जो आप नाम कुछ भी दे दो 100% टैक्सेबल है. आप उसको कोई भी नाम दे दो, इट इज टैक्सेबल. जैसे बेसिक टैक्सेबल है, कन्वेंस अलाउंस 1600 रुपए से ऊपर का होगा तो टैक्सेबल है. डियरनेस अलाउंस इज फुल्ली टैक्सेबल. सिटी कंपल्सरी अलाउंस 100% टैक्सेबल. प्रोजेक्ट अलाउंस टैक्सेबल. ओवर टाइम टैक्सेबल. मील एंड यूनिफॉर्म अलाउंस टैक्सेबल. एंटरटेनमेंट अलाउंस टैक्सेबल. Cash allowances taxable. Okay, so there are certain components which are in any way, whatever name you give, they are taxable. 100% tax applicability. So total income under the head salary में ये गिना जाएगा सब. There are certain areas or certain components which are partially exempted. Which are partially exempted or partially taxable. Fully exempted तो ऐसे अभी कुछ है नहीं, but still to a larger extent we call them fully exempted. But HRA is partially exempted. Okay. अभी क्या exemption है that I am leaving it to you. Explore the percentage of what is the part of exemption. कितना HRA पे taxable है, किस HRA पे tax नहीं है, that you explore. Check with your colleagues, check the Google and find out when it comes to HRA, what is the amount which is taxable. आप जहां भी काम करते होंगे वहां आपको बोलता होगा कि हाउस रेंट का रसीद जमा करो, है ना? और अगर आप लाख रुपए से ऊपर का हाउस रेंट भर रहे हैं तो आपके लैंडलॉर्ड का पान नंबर भी दो. हमको लगता है कि एचआरए 100% एग्जेम्प्टेड है. हम जितना भी अमाउंट लिख देंगे रसीद में उतना पैसा हमारा एचआरए टैक्सेबल कम हो जाएगा, बट एक्चुअली ऐसा होता नहीं है. In Gurgaon, for example, your house rent can be 25,000 rupees. है ना? Here in Bharuch, the house rent can be around 15,000 rupees. In Bangalore, the same house may rent for 35,000 rupees. Now, the salary is 5 lakh rupees across. आपको 5 लाख मिल रहा है गुड़गांव में, मैं भरूच में मुझे 5 लाख मिल रहा है, शर्मिष्ठा बैंगलोर में उनको भी 5 लाख रुपए मिल रहा है. शर्मिष्ठा वहां 35,000 रुपए भर रही है, मैं यहाँ 15,000 भर रहा हूँ और धीरे आप वहां 25,000 भर रहा हूँ. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि शर्मिष्ठा कैन क्लेम एंटायर 35,000 रुपीज एज एन एचआरए अंडर एग्जम्प्टेड. I can claim 15,000 rupees 100% as an exempted, or you can claim 20,000 rupees 100% as an exemption. No. So there are calculations that how much is an exempted amount. So these calculations I'm leaving it to you to explore and check. This becomes an assignment. Sir ne bola na notebook. So if you have your pen and paper, please take it. What could be the exempted HRA value? Amount हो या percentage जो भी. Similarly, LTA, leave travel allowance. LTA is also partially exempted or partially taxable. In public sector, there is LTC, LTA payable. Okay, every 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. Same thing in certain organizations, still they pay LTA. Okay, paid annually or sometimes paid manually, paid monthly, calculated annually for tax purpose. This is also partially taxable. Okay. So the next question is how much LTA you can avail as exempted. If you are sitting with your notebook, let us take this exercise to calculate the taxation also. Your total annual gross salary is 12 lakh rupees. तो जो ग्रॉस है ना वो 12 लाख रुपया है एनुअल. You are following an old tax regime. You are following an old tax regime. Your basic is 50% of your total gross. The basic is 50% of your total gross. Your HRA is 40% of your basic. HRA is 40% of your basic. You're paid 19,200 rupees annually as conveyance allowance. ₹19,200 annually as conveyance allowance. ₹15,000 annually as medical allowance. ₹2,400 annually as children education allowance. Remaining amount is, let's say, city compensatory allowance. You are liable to pay ₹2,400 annually as professional tax. ₹2,400 annually as a professional tax. The employer and employee contribution. The employer and employee contribution on provident fund is 12% of the basic. The company has taken a mediclaim for which the annualized premium is rupees 12,000. Deducted from your salary. Okay. So with these numbers, number one, what is your gross salary? Number two, what is your net salary? Number three, what is the total income tax liability as per old regime and as per new regime? लिख रहे हो ना?
Sir, as per what is income tax liability as per
ओल्ड रिजीम एंड न्यू रिजीम, मतलब पुराने तरह से गिनते थे तब कैसा था और अभी नया रिजीम के हिसाब से गिनेंगे तो क्या लायबिलिटी आएगी? Is this clear? Any question? Have you taken it properly?
Yes, sir, written it.
धीरज रिपीट कर सकते हैं?
The total gross salary is 12 lakh rupees.
Okay.
The basic
12,
salary
12
is
lakh.
50%. 12 lakh. 12 lakh.
Correct.
Basic is 50% of that, means it is 12,
Correct.
6 lakh rupees.
Correct.
HRA is 40% of basic salary.
Correct.
That is 2.4 lakh rupees.
Correct.
Then the conveyance allowance is 19,200. That is yearly
Correct.
basis. It is being paid.
Correct.
Then the medical allowance is 15,000 rupees.
Correct.
Then the children education allowance is 2,400.
Correct.
Okay. Then the balance will come as a city compensatory allowance, which is can be considered as special allowance or whatever it is. So that is to be
Correct.
considered.
Correct.
Regarding the taxation, it is 2,400 as annually professional tax is to be deducted. That is already
Correct.
clarified. And the EPF is 12% of the basic salary for the employer and the employee part. That is to be taken into
हाँ, मतलब
consideration.
12% एम्प्लॉय का, 12% एम्प्लॉयर.
Correct. And then the company has taken a mediclaim policy that is 16,000. That is 12,000 for year basis. Mediclaim
ठीक है.
annual policy is 12,000 rupees.
Correct.
And now we have to find out the gross salary, the net salary, the total income tax liability with old tax regime and the new tax regime.
Perfect. Perfect. अभी
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था सर.
बोलिए अंजन जी.
सर एम्प्लॉयर का पीएफ 13% शेयर नहीं होता सर, 12% जैसे एम्प्लॉय का कटता है पीएफ 13%.
हाँ,
12% एम्प्लॉय का होता था पीएफ, तो 13% एम्प्लॉयर का कटता है ना पीएफ. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि डॉक्टर 12%.
हाँ. सर
वहीं पे डाउट आ रहा था, इसलिए मैंने पूछा सर.
नहीं क्या मतलब एम्प्लॉय का 12%, एम्प्लॉयर का 13%.
पीएफ डिडक्शन होता है सर उनका ना.
करेक्ट.
13% और एम्प्लॉय 12% करता है सर.
करेक्ट.
तो सर आपने इसमें क्वेश्चन दिया जहाँ पे आपने लिखा है कि पीएफ 12% ऑफ द बेसिक कंपनी जो था उसमें एम्प्लॉयर और एम्प्लॉयर कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है, कुछ ऐसा था उसमें।
जो पीएफ का कंट्रीब्यूशन है ना, इट इज 12% फॉर
क्वेश्चन
एम्प्लॉय
रहेगा
ऑल्सो।
कि योर एनुअल सैलरी वाला जो था।
राइट राइट। सो 12% पीएफ कंट्रीब्यूशन एम्प्लॉय का भी और 12% पीएफ कंट्रीब्यूशन एम्प्लॉयर का भी। जो 1% है ना, 1%, जो आप बोल रहे हो एम्प्लॉयर का ज्यादा लगता है,
यस सर।
तो दैट 1% में से आधा टका जो है इट इज टुवर्ड्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव चार्जेस,
ओके सर, नाउ इट्स क्लियर।
और बाकी जो आधा टका है दैट गोज फॉर एम्प्लॉयज लिंक्ड इंश्योरेंस, इडली बोलते हैं उसको, ईडीएलआई।
यस सर।
ठीक है ना? तो वो दो कंपोनेंट ऐसे हैं जो आपके पीएफ में नहीं जाते,
जी सर।
इसलिए पीएफ कंट्रीब्यूशन विल रिमेन 12% फॉर एम्प्लॉयर एंड 12% फॉर एम्प्लॉयर।
यस सर।
और जो एम्प्लॉयर का कंट्रीब्यूशन है ना,
जी सर।
फॉर एवरीबॉडीज नॉलेज, जो एम्प्लॉयर का कंट्रीब्यूशन है उसके दो पार्ट हैं। एक पार्ट जाता है आपके पीएफ में और एक पार्ट जाता है आपके पेंशन स्कीम में।
यस सर।
तो जो एम्प्लॉयर का 12% है उसमें से 8.33 जाता है पीएफ में और 3.67 जाता है पेंशन में।
यस सर।
ओके, सो टोटल कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है इन द प्रोविडेंट फंड अकाउंट इज 20.33% और इन पेंशन फंड इट इज 3.67%।
यस।
ओके, तो ये हो गया आपका पूरा उसका एक लेखा जोखा। आपकी इनकम हो गई, आपको कौन कौन से हेड में मिल रहा है सेल्फ पैसा, ये हो गया। ओके, दिस इज ऑल फिक्स्ड। नाउ in the month of December, sorry, in the month of October, you got rupees 50,000 as bonus। ये आपके भी जो जितने भी हमने गणित लिखा है ना उसमें आप ये लिखो नीचे, मंथ ऑफ अक्टूबर you got 50,000 as bonus। हम बात कर रहे हैं साल 2022-23 की। दिस इज फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 22-23, मतलब अप्रैल 2022 से मार्च 2023 तक आपका टोटल वो 12 लाख का हिसाब अभी हमने लिखाया। उस दरमियान अक्टूबर 2022 में 50,000 रुपए आपको बोनस मिला। ओके, एंड in April 23, you were paid rupees 1 lakh as performance incentive। Is it clear?
Yes.
आपका जो 12 लाख रुपया था वो आपका सीटीसी स्ट्रक्चर था, आपको जो कंपनी ने लेटर पेटर दिया हो। क्योंकि उसके अलावा अक्टूबर 2022 में आपको 50,000 रुपया से बोनस मिला और अप्रैल 2023 में कंपनी ने अच्छा काम किया, मुनाफा अच्छा हुआ तो आपको 1 लाख रुपए का इंसेंटिव मिला।
But sir, April 23 amount will not come into the income tax calculation for 22-23, na?
Perfect.
31st of March we are closing.
Perfect. So that is the point I'm trying to drive. But that will be an income for the year 23-24.
Correct.
है ना? So not exempted। 23-24 में
It
उस
will
1
come in
लाख
the
को
next
भी
year.
टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा. यस, दैट इज द पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू ड्राइव. ओके, सो नाउ basic is 100% taxable.
Yes.
Basic is 100% taxable. HRA is partially taxable. तो आपके अमाउंट पे कितना टैक्स लगेगा, एचआरए कितना एग्जम्प्टेड है और कितना टैक्सेबल है, वो आपको ढूंढना है.
Correct.
That you will explore through Google. There are 3 clauses. 3 कंडीशन है. तो 3 कंडीशन कौन कौन सी है आप गूगल करेंगे तो आपको मिलेगा. I can tell you, but I don't want to tell you so that you can explore. There are 3 conditions. वो कंडीशन में से आपका कौन सा कंडीशन फुलफिल होता है, अकॉर्डिंगली आप आपका एग्जम्प्टेड अमाउंट गिन सकते हैं. अगर आपको फॉर्म 16 मिलता होगा तो उसमें आप देखना है, उसमें वो दिखाता है कि आपका एचआरए कितना उन लोगों ने इनकम चार्जेबल अंडर द हेड सैलरी कितना गिना है. So HRA, there are 3 clauses. You find out which clause is applicable to you and accordingly what is the amount exempted. LTA, leave travel allowance. Again, leave travel allowance is partially exempted. हमने अपने component में लिया ही नहीं है ना. We have not taken in our salary components leave travel allowance. LTA नहीं लिया है.
Correct.
मेडिकल जो है 15,000 रुपया 100% exempted है. So medical 15,000 rupees is fully exempted. Conveyance allowance 19,200 fully exempted. Education allowance 2,400 rupees fully exempted. Then you have city compensatory allowance, yeah, special allowance. It is 100% taxable. Okay. So now what you have to do is you have to calculate the applicable tax, yeah, TDS based on these numbers, assuming that you have not invested even a single rupee in any tax saving instruments. आपने एक भी रुपया ऐसे किसी भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट में इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया है जो टैक्स सेविंग है, जैसे होम लोन, जैसे ELSS, इक्विटी लिंक्ड सेविंग स्कीम्स ELSS, जैसे नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम NPS, जैसे किसान विकास पत्र, जैसे मेडिक्लेम, मेडिक्लेम फॉर सेल्फ, मेडिक्लेम फॉर पेरेंट्स, मेडिकल एक्सपेंसेस फॉर क्रिटिकल डिजीजेस. ऐसा कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट आपने नहीं किया है तो आपके ऊपर टैक्स लायबिलिटी क्या है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. You have taken an housing loan. You have taken an housing loan जिसमें साल में आप 1.5 लाख रुपया इंटरेस्ट भर रहे हैं. You are paying 1,50,000 interest on housing loan और 50,000 रुपया प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट. टोटल आपका जो भी EMI है साल भर का, मान लीजिए 2 लाख रुपया है, उसमें से 1.5 लाख रुपया इज टूवर्ड्स इंटरेस्ट and 50,000 is towards principal repayment. ₹25,000 an year, साल का 25,000 रुपया आप इंश्योरेंस का प्रीमियम भर रहे हैं, नॉन मेडिकल, LIC, बजाज एलियांस, HDFC एर्गो, इसकी लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज हैं जिसका प्रीमियम आप भर रहे हैं 25,000 रुपए साल का। साल की 25,000 रुपए की आपने SIP की है ELSS में। ₹25,000 in a year is an SIP in ELSS। आप उसको 24 कर दो, समझो 2,000 रुपए पर मंथ। ₹24,000 is ELSS as an SIP। तो ये जो भी बोला ना अभी मैंने, हाउसिंग लोन का प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट, your ELSS, your
इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम,
इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम और प्रोविडेंट फंड का आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन, प्रोविडेंट फंड का आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन जो 12% है ना, 12% ऑफ बेसिक, ये सब ATC के अंडर, सेक्शन 80C ऑफ इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में एग्जेम्प्टेड है अप टू ₹1,50,000। कौन कौन सी चीजें? LIC का प्रीमियम, SIP किया हुआ ELSS में, आपके हाउसिंग लोन का प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट, और आपके PF का आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन जो आपकी सैलरी स्लिप में डिडक्शन पार्ट में आता है। ऑल दीज आर exempted under section 80C of income tax act up to ₹1,50,000। समझ में आ रहा है?
यस सर।
आप साल का 25,000 रुपया प्रीमियम भरते हैं मेडिक्लेम का, आपका, आपकी फैमिली का। और आपके घर में आपके पेरेंट्स हैं, उनका मेडिक्लेम है, उसका भी 25,000 रुपया प्रीमियम भरते हैं, ₹25,000। ये मैक्सिमम एग्जम्प्टेड वैल्यू है अंडर सेक्शन 10D, है ना, 10D शायद, जिसमें ये एग्जम्प्टेड है। So with all these numbers and values, category of डिडक्शन, सेविंग्स जो भी है, Yeah. रुकावट के लिए खेद. I'm audible, visible. Screen sharing is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So, this is the task in hand, that with all these numbers, facts, and figures, what would be the tax liability? If you have anything, if you could miss anything, just let me know. We can repeat it quickly. I'll share these slides so you know what is exempted, what is taxable. Two areas which you need to explore is about LTA and HRA. What are the clauses? Okay. And you will share the salary slip It's getting disconnected again and again. So you will design the salary slip, one for the month of April 22 and one salary slip for the month of October 22. Okay, you will design two salary slips, एक April 22 और दूसरा October 22. Any question if you have, please ask. The template sample, I'm leaving it to you. You can design the way you want. But the basic information in any salary slip will be employee's particular, number of days worked, any leave availed, any absent days, then the earning, deduction, gross and net. Okay, and in deduction, I would request you to add the value of TDS deducted in that particular month. और ऐसा दो स्लिप, एक स्लिप हम बनाएंगे अप्रैल 2022 का और दूसरा बनाएंगे अक्टूबर 2022 का. Okay.
Sir, you have given the investment details also regarding the housing loan. These needs to be considered, na? You are telling no investment, one scenario, and
धीरज आवाज क्लियर नहीं है.
sir, now what I was telling that you have
दोनों हमने बात किया दोनों, मतलब हमको टोटल 4 चीजें हैं. पहला
correct.
हाँ, या आवाज आ रहा है धीरज? Am
हाँ
I
sir,
audible?
yes sir, अभी clear है अभी.
ओके. तो ये जो हमने नंबर लिखे ना अभी, इसके हिसाब से हमको अप्रैल 2022 और अक्टूबर 2022 का सैलरी स्लिप बनाना है. इसमें टोटल 4 चीजें हैं. पहला, अप्रैल 22 का सैलरी स्लिप एज पर ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम, अप्रैल 22 का सैलरी स्लिप एज पर न्यू टैक्स रिजीम, अक्टूबर 22 का सैलरी स्लिप एज पर ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम, अप्रैल 22 का सैलरी स्लिप एज पर न्यू टैक्स रिजीम, with savings and without savings.
Okay sir.
है ना। मतलब अगर हम ये सब इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो टैक्स लायबिलिटी कितना होगा, इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे तो टैक्स लायबिलिटी कितना होगा।
करेक्ट।
ठीक है, उसका लिमिट हमने डिस्कस कर लिया कि हम ETC में अगर कर रहे हैं तो 1.5 लाख से ऊपर नहीं होगा। इनकम टैक्स हाउसिंग लोन का इंटरेस्ट मैक्सिमम इज 2 लाख रुपया, विच इज एक्सेम्प्टेड फ्रॉम योर बेसिक अर्निंग। और बाकी का लिमिट भी हमने इन रिस्पेक्टिव सेक्शन हमने बात किया। Accordingly, either you give me an annual salary statement with all these permutations and combinations, or for these 2 specific months, with saving and without saving, new and old tax regime, put up on the group, and preferably Excel. Within next 2-3 days. So in between we can discuss, because before next weekend we can have this discussions concluded.
Okay, sir.
Is it okay, Anjan, Sharmishta?
Yeah.
So for me, it would be really tough. I have submissions. I have 14 report submissions by 10th officially. So I'm working on that on Sundays and Saturdays and everything. So it would be next to impossible for the next 2-3 weeks. But surely I would try to do it before Sunday.
Still, if you can spare some time, और रिपोर्ट बनाते बनाते आप बोर हो जाओ तो इस पे काम कर लेने का।
नहीं सर, एक्चुअली सब रात दिन काम
अब
कर रहे हैं, 24/7 काम चल रहा है with the seniors sitting here at the same room. So that is the reason why it's very scheduled. It's very tight. 10th is the World Bank submission date. So 14 reports. Can you understand?
Okay, so when can we discuss, Dheeraj, Anjan, Sharmishta, all you can, you can build up a consensus.
सर 20 को सर आप कर लीजिएगा। सर 12 और 13 सर मेरा भी एग्जाम है सर। 2 days मेरे बस ये 2 रिटर्न एग्जाम रह गए हैं सर अब।
Because there are too
ठीक है,
many
लेकिन
questions to adhere to. जो आपने दिया है assignment is like many questions. तो वो करने
Right.
में तो थोड़ा time लगेगा. So yes, as he's saying, it is better that we do it on our 20th. We can discuss. So after 10th, or I think after 13th, or his exam, the next week is a little bit lighter. I won't say very light, because again on 31st we have submissions, so a little bit lighter. So we can manage it at that.
Okay, so then on 20th, if it is convenient to everybody, 20
Yes,
तारीख
sir.
को up to 20th anytime, but भूल मत जाना।
No, not for sure. Not for sure.
मैं लिबरल हो जाऊं उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आपको लाइसेंस मिल गया कि चलो भेजेंगे आराम से या नहीं भेजेंगे। ऐसा मत करना।
भेज देंगे सर, आपको ग्रुप में ही भेज देंगे पहले, so that we can have a discussion on that.
Correct. That will be better. So you can put up in the group. Okay. So as per the schedule and syllabus, I may not have another class, but yes, once you will send this, now, so we can in between connect for 15-20 minutes, half an hour,
Yes.
and have a discussion on this.
Surely.
Sure, sir.
Done. So anytime in between 20th, you please share these things. Or I'm always available for any question if you have on these matters. So we can discuss it in between also.
Right. I just want to confirm that the CTC is 12 lakhs, is it? The total
CTC is 12 lakhs, yes. There is no fringe, there are no perquisites, it's all is paid in cash. Okay, and it's an annual amount. To be number there, it's annual for an ease of calculation.
सर जो आपने सर 13% वाला जो सर आपने एम्प्लॉयर का बताया सर, मेरे को ट्रेनिंग में सर जैसे जहाँ मैं मैनेजमेंट वहाँ पे मुझे सिर्फ इन्होंने इतना बताया कि 13% से पीएफ का ही होता है। पर आज थोड़ा डेप्थ में सर मिल गया उस चीज का नॉलेज।
हाँ नहीं, वो 13% में 12% पीएफ है, आधा टका एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चार्जेस और बाकी का आधा टका इडली।
यस सर।
है ना। दिस इडली इज अ कंपनसेशन। अगर कोई एम्प्लॉय एक्सपायर हो जाता है, डेथ हो जाता है, एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है, तो उसके फ्यूनरल चार्जेस, उसके कॉम्पनसेशन का जो भी पैसा है, इट इज फ्रॉम दैट पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीब्यूशन, इडली में से निकलता है। Fine. So we conclude our today's class with this. Some tangible inputs today. We spoke about numbers. We spoke specifically about taxation and salary slips, designing a compensation. And this will be helpful and in both the ways, as an employee also and as an employer also. कभी ज्यादा काट लिया पैसा तो आप गिन सकते हो कैसे काटा, क्यों काटा, और कम काटा तो खुश नहीं होने का, फरवरी मार्च में पूरा काट लेगा. So it is always good and advisable to have more TDS deducted in the early months, because you can always have a refund. Okay, which is payable with interest if delayed. Fine, and see you earliest on 20th for some time, or in between, whenever is convenient to all of us.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Enjoy your time.